Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Pada Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Shri Chinmaya Yatishasya
Gurum Vande Tapovanam
Tam Himavad Vibhutim Vai Jnana Vairagya Rupinam Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Om Bhadram Karnedhi Shrunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashye Makshabhirya Jatraha
Sthirairangai
Istustuvagam Sastanubihi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vriddhashravaha Swasti na Pusha Vishvavedaha Swasti nastarsho Arishtanemihi Swasti no Brihaspatirdadatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. My humble pranams to all of you. So we are in the second query of the Prasnopanishad. As we know, 6 students approached the teacher, and the first one asked about the external creation, how this creation came into being, which the Rishi answered. And the second student, Bhargava Vedarthi, asks the subtler question, who is that which in this body sustains and supports and nourishes and enlivens all the other, the sense organs, the organs of action, the antakarana, who is the one that nourishes them? And the Rishi said, talked about the devas, the 5 elements that are the lords of the senses. And then he, instead of answering the question directly, he told the story which we covered last week, where all the 14 of them, sense organs, organs of action, and antakarana, were arguing as to who is the most supreme and who supports the body. And then Prana said that it is me, the enlivening principle. I am the one that supports everything. And they did not believe him. So Prana, as though, got up to leave. And the moment Prana leaves, all the other senses become useless. So they also had to leave. But then he sat down and they all sat down. Just as a honeybees, when the queen bee leaves, the whole hive goes where she goes. And then where she settles, they all settle. So that was the story told, which means that it is the prana, which is the enlivening principle. Prana is not only the air, but the enlivening principle. which is the one that sustains this body. And once all the other 14 elements understood that prana is the supreme and the one that enlivens and nourishes us, then they were very pleased and they started doing stuti of the prana, praising the prana. And why do we need to do that? Because in our life, we don't think there is another sentient principle that nourishes us or that makes it. I feel I do everything. It is because of my hard work I have earned with the sweat of my brow. And then people like, in the past, Purva Mimamsa, they said there is no need for God. All you do is rituals, and rituals will produce their own result. So to think that the world came from inert, that altogether the elements got together and created, then why did we need intelligent parents? We could have created ourselves. So the fact that we need a sentient being to create us, and then we subsequently create others, it shows that there is a sentient principle called prana, which is enlivening and nourishing. And that was the story. So now all the other 14 elements are doing stuti of prana, praising prana as to how this prana is important. Prana means the enlivening principle. So we'll do mantra number 5. Harshaben, you have the book? Harshaben, can please chant? You can unmute. Esho Agni,
Desho Agni,
Tapat Yesha,
Tapatyashe Yasha,
Surya Esha,
Surya Esha,
Parjanyo,
Parjanyo,
Madhavanesha Vayuhu,
Madhavanesha Vayuhu,
Esha Prithvi,
Esha Prithvi,
Ravir Devaha,
Rai Dervaha,
Sadasachamritam,
Sadasachamrutam,
Chayat.
Chayata,
You can mute and we'll all chant together. Esho Agnis Tapasyesha, Surya Esha Parjanyo, Madhavanesha Vayuhu, Esha Prithvi Rair Devaha, Sadasachamritan Chayat. So now this prana is worshipped as Eshaha Agni. It is the fire, tapati, which warms, nourishes, heats everything. And then this prana is also, Esha is Surya, the sun. And Esha Parjanya, it is the rain. And then Esha is Maghavanesha. Maghavanesha is one of Indra's names. So that means all the gods are also that prana, and Vayuhu. Vayu is also prana. And then prana is Prithvi. Prana is Ravi, Rai. Rai we had understood as matter or Chandrama. And then Devaha, all the gods in heaven, all the enlivening forces that enliven the eyes, ears, that is prana. And Sat and Asat, manifest and unmanifest. And also Amritam, it is immortal, Chayat. Why is that immortal? Because it is the one consciousness that is playing all these roles, which is prana itself. So Agni, as we know, is the fire that is in the sun, and that is in our stomach as the digestive fire, and also Gyan Agni, the fire of knowledge. That's why Bhagavan Sri Krishna said, Sarva Karmani Gyan Agnishu, they get burnt. All the karmas get burnt in the fire of knowledge. All ignorance gets burnt. So that's why it is Agni. It is the fire, and it is sun. And it is interesting, our rishis even then knew that the sun is the cause of rain, and also as creates the wind, the movement of air. And that's how the clouds get transported from one part to another. So they knew about the creation of rain, how it falls. They also have described the 7 layers of wind, the 7 layers of air, which now science has found out there are 7 layers: ecosphere, mesosphere, ozone layer, and so on. So in the Rig Veda, thousands of years ago, they already knew about the 7 layers of air, which is also mentioned in Ramayana and Mahabharata. So that enlivening principle, which is the air, which is the one that we breathe and which is the one that gives us life. And then he said it is also Indra. Indra represents the power of the hands. Indra is Deva of hands. Indra is also represents all the Devas, all the celestial bodies that you are, O Prana. And all these Devas get their power from consciousness, from Brahman alone. They do not have their own power, but it is because of them. And that's what we have to understand, that our speech, our eyes, everything functions as long as that consciousness is there. Just as the policeman, when he's wearing the uniform, then he has power. He can shoot some criminal, he can order tear gas. If there is a disturbance, he can clear it. But when he comes home, he takes off his uniform, then he becomes a mouse, because then he's just a husband. So this reminds me of a story. So there was a plane crash and about 200 people died, 100 men and 100 women approximately. And so Yamaraj said, okay, the women, you all go to one room, and men here go in 2 lines. So the men stood in 2 lines. So all the men stood in 1 line and only 1 man stood in the second line. Yamraj had said, those of you who are bullied by your wife, on earth, stay in the first line. And all got in the first line. And only 1 man was in the second line. So Yamraj said, all of you? Said, yes, all of us. So, okay, then he said, how about you, this guy in the second line? How come you are standing here? He said, my wife before leaving told me, stay in the second line and do not move till I come back. So even though however much power we may have outside, but we have to understand that the power comes from consciousness, just as the power of the policeman or the power of the governor or president comes from the nation. And when we say Sat and Asat, what it means is it is the gross and the subtle. We had talked about that in the previous mantra also, that air and space are not visible, so they are Asat, and then earth, water, and fire are visible. Also, that's manifest and unmanifest. Also, the gross body is manifest, but the subtle and causal body is unmanifest. But the subtle and causal is much bigger than the gross, and that we have to understand. It is more pervasive. It is the cause. It is the causal body, and it's the subtle body that sustains this gross body. So that is called Asat. But Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says, Vinashyatsu avinashyantam yaf pashyati sapashyati. So the true vision is that in all this perishing, see the imperishable, and that is me, Bhagavan says. So that is the purpose of this particular mantra, to tell us that in this changing creation, there is one unchanging consciousness, which is Bhagavan, which is me. And when we do puja, say I'm chanting Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, then I don't only see Ram as in that picture or in that murti, but I see Shri Ram in everywhere, in all beings, in all animals, all birds or plants. So when I'm chanting the mantra, I am seeing that one consciousness at all times, in all places, just as when I see my flag. Suppose you see the stars and stripes, you remember the US, or if you see the tricolor, you remember India. and you pay homage, I am a servant of my country. So similarly, all these forms, whether are the gods or the devas, are symbols of that supreme reality, which is manifesting in this world as all these beings. And the purpose of life is to live in harmony with nature, because everything is that consciousness. That's what it says. All of nature, everything, the matter, the manifest, unmanifest, this Prithvi, everything is prana. But what we do, we live in ego, that I am great, I do all this, it is because of me, it is happening. That's why the god of ego is Rudra. And you know why Rudra? Rodayati iti Rudra, the one that makes us cry. And it is ego that makes us cry. Oh, I didn't get what I wanted. So that's why the lord of ego is also Rudra. So that's what they're saying. When you live in ego, that I am the doer, I am the karta and bhokta, then when things don't go, then you will cry. But if you say the Lord is working, then all credit goes to him, then that is. And such an individual lives in total harmony with nature. And we see not only the Indians lived in harmony with nature, even the American, the American Indians in America lived in harmony. The Incas in South America lived, but the Western civilization, in the name of civilization, destroyed all these cultures. Fortunately, the Indian culture in India survived, but all these other ones have been completely destroyed in the name of modernization. And that is why problems are happening, because they say human beings can destroy themselves, but nothing will happen to nature. Nature will continue. Because nature is eternal. And so that's why we have to live in harmony with nature. So this mantra tells us about nature. Now we'll do mantra number 6. Satish Bhai, you have the book?
Also, prana appears as fire.
Yes.
In the fire as heat, in the sun as shining.
Right.
So it is like electricity through bulb, it comes as light.
Right.
Through fan, it comes at.
Right.
So same way this prana. So
yes.
That point I thought was
right. Good. Yeah, I think last week we covered, but yeah, it is the energy that illumines everything.
Mentioning in the beginning.
Right.
As the fire prana, life burns.
Right.
As the sun, light shines. As the
right.
cloud, the light shines. Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
I don't have the book. I'm so sorry.
Acha, you want to repeat or have somebody else do it?
I can try and repeat.
You can try. Okay. Ara iva Rathanabhau Prane Sarvam Pratishtitam Richo Yajumshi Samani
Yagnakshatram
Brahmacha. Okay, all together. You can please mute. Ara iva Rathanabhau Prane Sarvam Pratishtitam Richo Yajumshi Samani Yagnakshatram Brahmacha. So here, the teacher is telling the example of the wheel. A wheel like a bicycle wheel or a bullock cart wheel has the hub where the wheel is held, and then there are spokes, which go out to the wheel and hold the wheel together. So ara eva, just as spokes, ratha nabhav means in the hub of the chariot. The hub is holding the wheel and the spokes are connecting the hub to the exterior of the wheel. Everybody has seen that. So in the same way, in pranaha sarvam pratishtitam, just as all spokes end in the hub and are supported by the hub, in the same way, in pranaha alone, all this is pratishtitam, all this is stationed. And where is this explained? Where is this taught? He says, Richaha, Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, and Sama Veda, the songs of the Sama. Why Atharva Veda is not mentioned, even though Prasnopanishad, Mandukya Upanishad, Mundak Upanishad are all part of Atharva Veda. Why Rishi has not mentioned Atharva Veda? Because Atharva Veda is not used in rituals. The first three were used in rituals. Here he is talking about rituals. So in this one and in the next mantra, and Yajur Veda, Atharva Veda is more the modern things like medicine and science and all.
Later.
And also came later, but the Prasnopanishad is a part of Atharva Veda.
Yeah.
So it says, just as in the spokes are resting in the hub, same way everything is resting in prana. And it is described in Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, and Sama Veda. And also it is in all the yajnas and in Kshatriya and Brahmanas. So how about Vaishyas and Shudras? We'll talk about that. So as we said, the wheel is sustained by the hub. The hub is the one that is holding it and the wheel moves around it, but all the spokes are equidistant. It's not one spoke is shorter, one spoke is longer. That's why the circle is full, and that's how the wheel moves. So the hub is described as consciousness, as Brahman, the self, which here manifests as prana, and all of us, whether it's Brahmans, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras, are equidistant from all. So it's not that when they mention Brahman and Kshatriyas, they include all other castes, because all others are equally important. You know, Brahmanas represent knowledge, Kshatriyas represent resourcefulness, Vaishyas represent movement, and Shudras represent hard work. So all four are required. Even in our life, we need knowledge, we need resourcefulness, we need movement, and we need hard work. So these castes were divided not on birth, but based on abilities. That's why Bhagavan Krishna says, Chatur Varnam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhaga Yoho. Because of gunas and because of karmas, not because of birth. Later on, it became a method of exploiting the other castes. You know, I am higher caste and other one is lower caste. But then why are Brahmanas doing rituals and why are Shudras or Vaishyas not doing rituals? Because they are trained. They have developed the ability to memorize mantras and chant and do the rituals. It's like in science, why only certain scientists are allowed to do, you know, difficult nuclear experiments. Why is the janitor not given a key? Okay, you can go inside and do the experiment. No, because the person has trained himself to become a nuclear scientist and do it. So similarly, different people, based on their gunas and their karmas and their abilities, some become teachers, some administrators, some business people, and some become workers. So there is nobody who is superior or inferior. That's what is meant by that all four castes are like the wheel which goes around the consciousness. And it is this same consciousness that is there in all teachings, all education. Gurudev says, when there is a guru and a shishya, all the Vedas represent knowledge. All of them need prana, they need consciousness, and also to perform all yajnas. All yajnas are also performed in the presence of consciousness, in the presence of this life principle. So that's why the knower of the four Vedas was called Chaturvedi. So there was Vedi, Dvivedi, Trivedi, Chaturvedi, depending on how many Vedas they have learned. But Atharva is not mentioned because this mantra and the next mantra will talk about performance of rituals, and all yajnas are performed in the Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, and in the Sama Veda. And that is the essence of this particular mantra, that in all teachings, the prana is there. In all yajnas, the prana is there. And prana holds the universe together like the spokes in the wheel. And it is the hub is the most important. That's why in a car, if the axle is broken, then that car becomes useless. I remember in India, they used to have these old cars where the axle would break going on some. And then they say, oh, this car is useless. You have to spend thousands of rupees or junk the car. So here, prana represents the axle or the hub. Next, Shaku, can you chant, please? Mantra number 7. Prajapatisharasi
Prajapati Sarasi
garbhe tvameva
Garbe Tameva
pratijayase
Pratijayase
tubhyam prana
Tumyam Prana
prajastvima
Prajastima
balim haranti
Balim Haranti
yah pranaihi
Yapranehi
pratitisthasi.
Pratitistasi.
Okay, you can please mute all together. Prajapatisharasi garbhe tvameva pratijayase tubhyam prana prajastvima balim haranti yah pranaihi pratitisthasi. So Prajapati. So Prajapati, that's what this prana is equal to Prajapati. Because we know that this supreme consciousness plays 3 roles. One is functioning through Maya, it plays the role of Ishvara. Ishvara is the unmanifest, which represents the causal body. And then the subtle body, the mind and intellect, in the totality is called Prajapati or Hiranyagarbha. So Ishvara is unmanifest, Prajapati or Hiranyagarbha is the first manifestation of the divinity, which is called the mind and intellect in us. The vasanas are unmanifest, but the mind and intellect is manifest. And then the gross body is called Vishwa, and the total gross body is called Virat. So this consciousness in the causal aspect is Ishvara, in the total mind is Hiranyagarbha or Prajapati, and in the gross body is Virat. We have covered that. So he says, this Prajapati, the creator, Charasi Garbhe, is moving in the womb. You know, the baby moves in the womb. And Tvameva Pratijayase, and you alone are the one that is born from the mother when the baby is born, that is Prajapati. And Tubhyam Pranaha Prajatu Ima Balim Haranti. So all beings, all Praja, to you, O Prana, Balim Haranti means they offer their sacrifices. Just as in the fire, when we offer a sacrifice and we say, Swaha, Swaha, you know, Om Indraye Swaha, na idam mama, nothing is mine, it is offered to Indra, Om Varunaye Swaha, na idam mama. So here, all offerings in this yajna are made to you, Prana, and yah pranaihi pratitishthasi. Here, Prana, see, that's why we need a teacher and we need Shankaracharya, because we think Prana has only one meaning. Here, Prana is sense organs.
Yeah.
So, you know, without having Shankaracharyaji's bhashya, we would be lost. All the acharyas also use Shankaracharyaji's bhashya, Gurudev and all the acharyas. So that's why he says, you are the one, O Prana, who is there in all sense organs, and all sense organs offer oblations to you. So as we said, you are the one who is born in the baby, you are the one that moves in the womb. And so the baby that appears is not my child. You know, people say, this is my child. And we get so attached, you know, my child, he doesn't call me, he has gone to college, he has forgotten me. After marriage, to bhul jao, he doesn't even think about me. So it's not my child. That's why Khalil Gibran said, children are not born to us, they are born through us. So that is very important. Child is born through me, but it is Prajapati himself. Of course, at the karma level, I have to take care of the child, nourish the child, feed the child, give the child right values, make sure the child learns, make sure the child does all good things. So at the karma level, whatever is required for the child, we do, but do not limit it to that. At the bhakti level, see, Bhagwan has manifested in this child. So Bhagwan himself has come in my house. So at the karma level, we take care of the child. At the bhakti level, we see God himself manifest. And at the jnana level, one consciousness alone is everywhere and has manifested as this child. So the child has to be seen at karma level, bhakti level, and jnana level, and not get attached, because each child is born with his own vasanas, his own karmas, his or her own prarabdha, and they will go through that. All we can do is make the facilities available for this child. So that's why he says, O prana, as Prajapati, you manifest in this child. And all senses are offerings to God. What I see goes to the mind and then is known by consciousness. What I hear, smell, taste, touch, whatever I eat, whatever I drink, everything is offering to Bhagwan. That's why in Shiv Manas Puja, there is the one beautiful verse, Atma Tva Girija Mati Prana Shariram Griham Puja Te Vishayopa Bhoga Rachana. So whatever I intake through my senses is a puja. Whatever I see, whatever I hear, not only what I put in my mouth, but all the senses are continuously offering oblations, just as we are putting in the fire and saying swaha, swaha. So everything is offered to the Lord. So he says, if everything is offered to the Lord, then I can eat anything, drink everything, and say I'm offering to the Lord. I can see anything, hear anything. No. Think about it. When we offer something to the Lord in the morning, what do? First, we take a bath. Then we make sure the food is clean, it is sattvic, it is cooked fresh, and then only we offer to the Lord. We don't offer him 3-day-old, basi khana or something like that. So when we are offering to the Lord in the temple or in our puja room, then also the Lord that is being offered within, all oblations are going to him. So I have to be very careful what I see, what I hear, what I eat, what I smell, what I taste, and also the actions I perform. That's why they say puja te vishayopabhoga rachna nidra samadhi sthitihi sanchara padayo pradakshina vidhi stotrani sarva giro yat yat karma karomi tat tadakhilam shambho tavaradhanam. All my karmas, O Lord Shiva, are your aradhana. My feet are your parikrama. My speech is glorifying you. So when all activities are done for Lord, then automatically my actions become pure, my speech becomes pure. What I see, I have to be very careful about. So that's what they say, that see this whole universe as one. But what we do, we see differently. That's why the Guru Stotram, it says, Akhanda Mandala Karam Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tat Padam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I prostrate to my beloved Guru, who has made this world Akhanda Mandala, of the shape of unbroken Akhanda Mandala Akaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam. Whatever is moving and unmoving is that one. Tat Padam Darshitam, the Guru who has shown me that consciousness. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. What is our understanding? Khanda, right? It is broken. Everything is broken. That's why Ramchandraji says, मैं or Mary, tu or teri, mai more and tai tor. That is Maya.
Maya.
I and mine
You're
and
doing
you and
it.
yours is Maya. That's what he tells in Ram Gita to Lakshmanji. So our understanding is khanda. Everything is broken. And Guru says it is akhanda, unbroken. So from khanda, just to add the word takes us not one lifetime, but many lifetimes to understand that there is, just to add a little that is the whole Vedanta, right? To see in the infinite variety, to see one, in khanda to see akhanda, and only a guru can do that. That's why we say akhanda mandalakaram vyaptam yena characharam. To that guru I prostrate. This was a beautiful point. Khanda and akhanda, one of the commentaries I read, I said this is the essence of spirituality, to see the oneness.
Yes.
So beautiful. Ramaben, you have the book. You want to do the eighth one? Oh, you can't see. Okay, Lata, can you do that, please? Eighth mantra.
She just had an eyes appointment.
Okay.
Deva namasi
Deva namasi
vannitamaha
vannitamaha
pitrunam prathama svadha
pitrunam prathama svada
rishinam charitam
rishinam charitam
satyam
satyam
atharvangi rasamasi.
atharvangi rasamasi.
Okay, all together. Deva namasi vannitamaha pitrunam prathama svadha rishinam charitam satyam atharvangi rasamasi. So Devanam asi vannitamaha. So you are greater than fire, because the fire is that which carries oblations to the devas, and that is you, prana alone, have manifested as this fire, which is Agni, which is carried to the devas. And then Pitrunam, and to our ancestors, you are the Prathama Swadha, you are the first oblation. So that's what they say, that the oblations to the ancestors have to be made before the devas, and we'll talk about that. And Rishi Nam, so Rishi we think as the rishis who are meditating in the forest, but here Rishi is also another name for senses. So they say, well, can you make up your mind? Make up. Rishi, you're calling senses as Rishi, Prana. So that's why we need the guru to teach us. So Rishi Nam Charitam. So you are the ones that is moving in the sense organs, but you are the Satyam. You are the essence. Atharva means, of course, Atharva Veda. Here Atharva means knowledge. And Angi Rasam, you are the sense organs that constitute the essence of the body. The essence of the body is that you are Asi. So Agni, the word Agni is Agre Nayati Iti Agni. So it is Agni that carries our homage to the God. So when you offer Indrai Namaha or Varunai Namaha, Agni will carry to that appropriate God. That particular God will be propitiated and will bless us. So Agni is the one that is the what you call FedEx, which carries our prayers to the appropriate God. And that's why the significance of Yajna, that a Yajna is performed to offer our gratitude. There are 5 kinds of Yajnas. I think I talked about Pitru Yajna, Deva Yajna and all. Did I mention that in this class?
No.
Okay, so there is Deva Yajna, Rishi Yajna, Pitru Yajna, Nara Yajna, and Bhuta Yajna. So Deva Yajna is to all the celestial beings. So I offer my homage to them for this, creating this universe. Then Rishi Yajna is my gratitude to the Rishis for this knowledge, for all the Vedas and the Upanishads. Then Pitru Yajna is to my ancestors. Because of them, I am here, and we'll talk about ancestors in this talk. And then Bhuta Yajna means to all beings. I have to offer my Yajna. And then to Nara Yajna. Nara means all the guests, Atithi, etc. So what it means is the 5 Yajnas cover all. Adhyatmik, Adi Devik, Adi Bhautik, all of them. So these are the 5 Yajnas. So you are the one that carries to the Devas, and you are the one that is the Swadha, that is the oblations, the Shraddha which we do for the ancestors. They say the Shraddha must be done. That's why Taittiriya Upanishad says, Deva Pitra Karyabhyam na pramaditavyam. So the Shraddha must be done. And when we offer the Shraddha, we don't say Swaha, we say Swadha. Swadha, that means, and then you remember that particular ancestor, visualize their form, or even if you don't visualize, but all my ancestors, you express gratitude. It is because of them I am here. And the Kula is carried by that. And also the values that the ancestors represented are continued, and the hard work that they did. Think about it. Our ancestors had a much harder life. I remember our parents came from Pakistan just with a shirt on their back, and how hard they worked to establish themselves and gave us good education. So remembering ancestors is Shraddha, and that's why in the Chinese also there is Thanksgiving. There is a day of Thanksgiving for ancestors. Here also we have Thanksgiving to recognize and thank our ancestors. And the best Shraddha is called Nandi Mukha Shraddha, which is the one that is offered. And they say offering to the Pitrus should be done the day before you offer to the Devas. So say if you're having a big yajna, the day before you do the Nandi Mukha Shraddha to express gratitude to the ancestors for all they have done for us. And then, so if you want, say if a child is born, or if you're building a new house or starting a new business and you're doing yajna, but before yajna, one should do Shraddha. In fact, when Ramchandra ji appeared on earth, when he took avatar, Dashrath Maharaj did Nandi Mukha Shraddha when this child was born to express his gratitude to all the ancestors that Lord himself has appeared in my house. So the gratitude to the ancestors is called Nandi Mukha Shraddha. So they say, how does the fire know where my ancestor is? How will the fire carry? That's why in Ishavasya Upanishad, Agne Nayar, Supata Rai Asman, carry us to the good path. How does the Agni know? Maybe my ancestor has taken birth somewhere else. So I heard a very beautiful example. Say you have sent an email to somebody, right, in Bakersfield. Now that person happens to be visiting India for 2 weeks, and you have sent him here email in Bakersfield. But can he not access his email in India? All he has to do is put his address in the computer and the email will find him. So if an inert object like a computer can access email anywhere in the world, and email you send in Bakersfield gets sent to India or Spain or China, don't you think the sentient principle prana, God will know where to send your... So they say, don't worry about where my ancestors are. Are they in heaven, or are they in Pitru Loka, or have they taken another birth? Maybe they have come as my child. Doesn't matter. Just offer your oblations, because it is a way of expressing gratitude and a pledge to the ancestors that the values that you represented in your life, I must be grateful for the knowledge I have received, and it is a pledge from me to continue the hard work and to continue the values that our parents represented. So this is the Swadha is offering to the ancestors with all this attitude. So it's not just a blind faith or some mechanical offering, but one should remember one's ancestors with gratitude and promise to continue their work. And so he says, you are the fire which carries, which not only nourishes us, but carries all the yajnas. You are the swadha, you are the oblations that we offer to the Pitrus. And then you are Rishinam Charitam. You move around as a dynamic principle in the sense organs. So here sense organs are called Rishi because what is Rishi? Rishati Janati Iti Rishi. So Rishi is one that knows. That's why these mantra seers were called Rishis, because in their meditation they could see and hear the mantras, they could visualize, and they manifested. So all the Vedas have manifested because of these great Rishis. So the sense organs are called Rishis because they are Gyan Agni. They are sense organs. They are not Bhoga Agni. So what we have done, made our senses into Bhoga Agni instead of Jnana Agni. So they are meant for knowledge and for nourishing the body, but not for Bhoga. So these senses are the Atharva Angir Rasamasi. Angir Rasamasi means they are the essence of the body, because suppose there were no sense organs, I didn't have eyes, ears, nose, life would be impossible. So they are the one that nourish the body. They are the one that provide knowledge to the body. And that is Atharva. Atharva is knowledge, and they are Satyam. Satyam means the true principle, the eternal principle. That's why we say Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram. So this consciousness is eternal, it is auspicious, and it is beautiful. So that's why he says, oh Prana. So that's why they have paid homage to Prana. You are the fire, you are the oblations, you are the knower, Rishi, you are the all the knowledge, you are the sense organs, you are the Prajapati in my child, and to me, to you, Prana, we are offering all our oblations. And you are the one that is holding the body together like a hub and spoke. And you are the one that is the creator of all the four Vedas. All the four castes are sustained by you like spokes in the wheel. And you are the fire, as Neeru said, that is nourishing us. And Surya, rain, everything, all the gods, you are. So these four mantras are the stuti of prana. Stuti means praise, singing the glories of prana, because the 14 elements, the 5 sense organs, 5 organs of action, and the 4 antakarana, the 14 elements cannot function without the 5 pranas. And prana had mentioned in the previous mantra that I become 5, prana, apana, samana, vyana, udana. That will be covered in more detail in the next class, how this prana divides and what are the functions. So the stuti of prana is the whole chapter, the rest of this chapter. These today and the next week are praise of prana. And prana is not only the breath, but the sentient principle. So I think I have covered all the points. We have about 10 minutes. If anybody has any comments, questions, anything you would like to add?
Nilji, I have a couple of one question and one comment. So the question is, can you just elaborate a bit on the Bhashya of Shankaracharya ji?
Yeah, so the Bhashya, actually Shankaracharya ji wrote Bhashya on 8 major Upanishads.
Right.
Or 10 major, 8 and then 2 more, 10 major Upanishads. And what he did was, they're also in Sanskrit, but they further expand upon the mantras of the Upanishads, because the mantras are very brief. and
Right.
don't really explain everything, because the Rishi, whatever he had heard in his meditation, he just spoke it. So it sometimes for a newcomer, it would be very hard to understand. So Shankaracharya ji, out of compassion for us, wrote bhashyas in Sanskrit, not only on the Upanishads, but also on the Bhagavad Gita. His bhashya is used by all the acharyas, and also on the Brahma Sutras. In
I see.
fact, Ved Vyas ji at one time appeared and told him that nobody has understood Brahma Sutras like you have. So our whole Chinmaya mission, we owe so much gratitude, because all our teachings are based on Shankaracharya ji's teachings. So that's why, and Gurudev followed Shankaracharya ji in his.
So are those bhashyas, have we studied those, or are they like in the book form? Or?
They are available in book form. Yes, actually, we have a book at home which has all the bhashyas, has the Upanishad bhashyas and the Bhagavad Gita bhashyas and the Brahma Sutra. You can buy the bhashyas, and then the
Okay.
bhashyas also are translated into Hindi, English. So you can
Oh, I
buy
see.
the bhashyas with translation.
So are they called bhashyas, or they have a different name?
They're called Upanishad bhashya, Bhagavad Gita bhashya, Brahma Sutra bhashya. But again, the bhashyas are in Sanskrit. So either you should know Sanskrit or buy them with the translation. So translations are available in all the regional languages, Hindi, English,
Languages.
all the languages.
Right.
So they are available, yes, bhashyas. And in fact, I actually should sit and do that. And Neeru was telling me today, do you sit with the bhashya when you, I actually listen to Swamiji who reads the bhashya and gives the meaning, but maybe from tomorrow I'll start sitting with the Sanskrit bhashya to follow exactly what Shankaracharya ji has said. So yeah,
I see.
but whatever I'm speaking is from Swamijis who are quoting bhashya and translating.
I see.
Yeah.
They have interpreted them. I see.
Yes, they have interpreted from Sanskrit to English.
In the course, that's how they teach.
Right. In the 2-year course, they teach all based on bhashyas. Even the Bhagavad Gita is taught on Shankar bhashya and all of that.
I see. Well, thank you for that. And the other thing is, you mentioned about doing Shraddha for the ancestors. Now, I mean, I heard over the period of time in my life that people say if somebody nobody has done a Shraddha for somebody, then their soul is just hanging somewhere. And so I was wondering what happens in that case if our kids are not going to do that, that. so what will be our situation?
No, I think
I don't think it will be hanging.
No, I don't think it will be hanging. I think, for example, Westerners don't offer Shraddha, right? Nobody in the West offers Shraddha. In Europe, in America, does not mean the souls are hanging. I think it is more a function of expressing gratitude to our ancestors and remembering them. And they say that if you do dana in the name of your ancestor, offer food, that ancestor, if he's born somewhere, will unexpectedly get food. Like suddenly he'll go somewhere and he will get fed, and he'll say, "Oh, I wasn't expecting food here." So it is his children or grandchildren have made. So doing donation, charity, in the name of your ancestors is always good. And it's a main way of expressing gratitude and pledge to continue their values and hard work.
Right, because I've heard people doing their own Shraddha while they're alive. And then because they said our kids are not going to do it, so let's do it our own.
I don't know if you can
do it.
But
no,
I don't think you can do. But I think, based on your karmas, you will go. You don't have to depend on your children doing Shraddha. If I have done good karmas, I'll go to heaven. If I have done evil karmas. So this is, I think, mostly is to express our gratitude.
I see.
But because people don't do it, so that's why they say, oh, if you don't do it. So that is an indirect way of telling people that.
Telling them to do it.
Yeah, it's like if you don't do puja, Bhagwan
will get angry. Or they actually said that if you don't do Shraddha, your ancestors will get angry. So the Swamiji actually mentioned that in his commentary when I was listening. So he says it's not that suddenly the Pitrus will get angry and curse you. It is
Right.
an expression of our gratitude.
I see.
Yeah, and a pledge to continue the values and hard work. That
Well,
our
thank you for reassuring that, because I was like, our kids are not going to do it.
No, they are
Maybe we
not
should
going to
do
do
it.
it. Even we don't do Shraddha. So it is, but every morning I pass by, my parents' picture is there. I bow
Of
down,
course.
express
We do.
gratitude and thanks.
Yes.
So, that is,
We do it
Absolutely.
in a mentally you can offer.
And
thanks.
you live by their principles, then you are
Yes.
giving homage to them.
Right, right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like my mother took me to Chinmaya Mission. I always am thankful that if that had
Yeah,
not
absolutely.
happened, we wouldn't have been exposed. So,
Yes.
it's good.
Well, thank you again.
Thank you. Yeah, no, that's a good question. Good point. Thank you. Anything else?
Anybody?
Anybody else? We have, Lata, go ahead, please.
You had mentioned 7
Layers of
air,
being.
movement of air, 7 classes.
Right.
The book doesn't mention them. Do you know which one are they talking about?
Actually, I have the English one in Google. If you
Okay.
Google, but I'm sure if you Google 7 layers of air in the Upanishad, it will come.
Oh,
The
okay.
Rig Veda. I actually Googled the scientific one: ecosphere, mesosphere, ozone layer.
Oh,
Those I
really?
read. But I didn't do that. But they are there. You can just Google it.
Okay.
They
Yeah, it says
also have
avaha
name.
coming, pravaha going,
Right.
nivaha whirling.
Yes,
Right,
yes.
right. Gurudev has mentioned 3.
Three
I'm
of
sure
them.
all 7 are there. If you Google it, it will be there.
Oh, okay.
Just say
Okay.
7 layers of air in the Rig Veda and it will come.
Right.
Yeah.
So as far as the Shraddha is concerned, Hindu calendar gives 15 days Bhadrapada
Mhm.
time.
To
So
offer.
in those 15 days, one day is all Pitru, you can do the offering.
Right,
But what we have done is we go give it to the local charity.
right.
So when we were in Terre Haute, we would give it to the Catholic charity because
Exactly.
they are doing the donation, and they feed the community, the hungry or
Right,
whatever.
right.
So
You can-
where you are, where you have generated, you just give that in
Right.
the name of your Pitrus.
Exactly. That's very good.
And then
Easy.
and then cook
Question
special
regarding
meal
that.
for them,
Yeah,
whatever their desirous meal was, whatever.
exactly. Thank you.
Okay,
Nirmal ji,
thank
you
you.
have questions?
Anilji,
Lataji, when are these 15 days?
Before the Dussehra.
भादरवो महीनों कहते हैं. I will look it up in my calendar.
It's before the Navratri.
Before
before
Navratri.
Navratri 15 days.
Before Navratri, 15 days.
Right before Navratri, from Amavasya to Punam to Amavasya.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Thank you.
Anilji, I have a question regarding that.
Yeah.
I thought when a person take a sannyasa, they do their own pindadana.
Right. Yeah. Because then they are beyond the body. So they actually do not need.
Okay. Then
Yeah.
why can't sansari can do their own pindadana? Right? So that work, right?
Yeah. Actually doing dana is good.
I'm talking about the pindadana. So,
Yeah.
that
I think you
just
can ask a
put your-
pandit that is that there are some pandits will do that. So if you
Right.
want to do it, there's nothing wrong with it. But
Okay.
nothing wrong.
Okay. Yeah.
Nirmal ji, you can unmute. You have a
They
question.
also have Gaya. You go to Gaya.
If you go to Gaya and do the pink dana, then you don't have to do any more after that.
That's
Right.
what
That's
it
the
is.
But you
last.
see, just continuing this thing,
Ji.
then we can do it as a ritual,
Yes.
but then mentally with jnanam, we haven't done it,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So anyway, what I wanted to talk about was the Shraddha. I think in the West here, we should become more vocal about mentioning Pitru when we
Right.
do any kind of dana regularly and do
Yes.
that regularly.
Mhm.
And I also have pictures of the ancestors in my mandir and when I pass by, but make that a practice visual to the grandchildren.
Mm.
So they do not visit often, but whenever they do, because now they're grown up, we miss the opportunity. But you see, the pictures have been there, but we haven't verbalized it.
Yes.
We just do the Jai, but that's a private thing.
That's true. It'll make our children and grandchildren aware of that. That's a good point.
Anilji, I wanted to say one more thing. Next, really find this class very useful. Never done Prasnopanishad. And I will be leaving early next week, around 4 or 4:10. So
Yeah,
in
no
case
problem.
you see
problem.
me leaving, okay?
Yeah. And it is recorded, so you can listen to it. I sent you the website.
But you may wonder, why has she left? So I thought
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for
Thank
letting me. Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Anything else?
Oh, yeah, time.
Okay, we'll do the closing prayer. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you very much. Hari Om.